Hey guys, so we're going to go ahead and start the second half of our lesson. So what's going to happen is this. You're going to need a piece of black paper. Now, if you don't have black, you can use blue, you can use purple. It's completely up to you. You can use colored pencils or you can use crayons. Now, what you also need to do is you need to pick 2 planets from our solar system to draw. I've put some pictures in the presentation so that way if you need some references, you can look at them or you can look up your own. So let's go ahead and get started. On my paper, I already traced out 2 circles. Now, something you want to consider is this. Planets are different sizes. So I'm drawing Mars, and I'm also drawing Neptune. So they're different sizes. Mars is smaller than Neptune. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure the circle I trace for Mars is smaller than that. So just a little reminder, just in case. So what I'm going to do is, I have a picture of Mars on my computer. I've already picked some of the colors that goes with that planet. So Mars is a very red, orangey, yellow planet. So I'm going to start off with my darkest color to the side. Now, I traced my circles with a white crayon, and the reason I did that is so you could see it better on my camera. You could just use a regular pencil, so that way it shows up a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my darkest color, just like I know to do. And the darkest color I have is this very, very dark red. So I can start my sphere. Now, if I want it to be a little bit darker, I could layer this dark brown I have over top of it as well. And I'm going to keep going around with my red. Now, this is something to consider because before, when we were drawing our spheres, we were using a single color. So it was easy to relieve pressure and make things lighter. Well, now we're using different colors. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move to a different color that's lighter, which is orange. So I can actually switch my color. So I'm going to go ahead and keep going with the color I've picked. So that way, I have my little variation. Now, I'm going to go ahead and keep going. And remember, the more pressure you use, the more color is going to go down. The less pressure you use, the less color goes down, which is sometimes a good thing. So if you press a little bit lighter, you can build your layer of color as opposed to making it too dark. So I'm coming around with my orange, and now some of the other colors I've selected to go with this, there is another kind of lighter yellow, or darker yellow almost. And I'm going to apply that down as well. To get my pigment down. So here is my Mars. Now here's the thing with Mars. Mars has a lot of texture. So just because I've drawn Mars as a sphere with different shades and tones doesn't mean that it quite looks like Mars yet. So what I can do is I can actually go back and add some texture to Mars to kind of show the bumpy side of Mars, because Mars is actually a pretty rocky planet. And even from outer space, you can see a lot of its texture. So I'm going to go ahead, runaway pencil sharpener, and start adding some of the texture to Mars. So Mars has a lot of craters and bumps to it. So I'm going to take a black color pencil to add some of that extra detail to Mars's surface. Now, I'm pretty happy with my Mars, and I'm going to move on to my Neptune. Now, I told you in the first video that you can use crayons or colored pencils. If you want to keep using colored pencils for your second planet, go ahead. But what I would like to do is show you what to do with crayons if crayons is what you have. So don't feel like you have to use crayons right now. Crayons is something that's optional. I'm just showing this for the people who have those on hand because they're a little bit different. So I'm going to go ahead and take out the colors I need for Neptune. So I have all my different blues, and I actually pulled out a white as well. So I'm going to start off Neptune the same way with the darkest blue along one edge. And Neptune is a very beautiful blue planet. It's actually one of my favorites. So, believe it or not, you can like art and like science too. You can like them both. I'm going to go ahead and bring my dark color all the way around to make that kind of C. And as I come around, I'm going to start thinking to myself, all right, now it's time to switch to that lighter blue. So I'm going to switch up to the lighter blue to get that sphere look. Now this is the nice thing about using crayons as opposed to colored pencils. You can actually take a little bit of the white crayon and layer over it to get a little bit of variation in your color. And you can actually do that with a white colored pencil as well. So if you take a white colored pencil, you can actually go over your colors to blend them in a little bit and make them a little lighter. So if you're using crayons, there is a little benefit to it. So here is my Neptune now. And it goes from the dark to the light. Now let's say I wanted to show that a little bit more. I can take that white crayon and layer it over top to make the light and dark, to show the curve of the planet all the way around. So that way there is some extra to it. Now, fun thing, you can do the same thing over top colored pencil. You can actually layer crayon and colored pencil together, believe it or not. Now that I'm done with my planets, let's say I want to go ahead and I'm going to add some extra detail. The next detail is stars. There's two ways to do this. And I'm going to do half on one side and half on the other. You pick one way to do it. It really depends what you have at home. Because again, we're being flexible, boys and girls, in using the supplies we have available. I can add my stars around my planets simply by using my white crayon or white colored pencil to go around. Now, another option I showed you was if you happen to have a little bit of white paint at home, you can do this as well. You can take a little bit of white paint, just a tiny bit because you don't need very much. Put it on a little scrap piece of paper and take a little paintbrush, and you can actually paint in your dots as well, which always are your stars as well, which always look very nice against your black paper. So the crayons or the paint works either way. Hopefully you enjoyed drawing your planets, and I cannot wait to see which planets you selected because you do have more than one choice. So I'm really excited to see what planets you picked. I'm excited to see what your drawings look like, and I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I will hopefully be looking at your artwork soon. Have a good week, guys.